my name is Christian Allanson, and today I'll be doing this vulnerability assessment for David Hall's Windows Server 2012 and the Ubuntu Server 1604. This is for ISA 4220. Alright, first I want to talk about what Nessus actually is. It is a remote security scanning tool. It scans a computer and raises an alert if it discovers any vulnerabilities that hackers could use to gain access to the computer that is in question. Usually has over 1,200 checks that can be tested on any computer, but I think we only did around 20 or so, I think, on these servers. These tests to see if any of these attacks could be used to break into the computer or harm it. When it's done scanning, it gives out a report, and it ranks the vulnerabilities from critical to high to medium to low to informational. These types of attacks are major entry points for attackers. These are what they're mainly looking for, and they need to be solved or fixed immediately before any harm is done to the computer itself or any of the data you have stored on it. Next is high, and these they tend to be a little less harmful than the critical vulnerabilities, but should not be underestimated. These can include DDoS attacks, or local malware, or remote malware for that matter. These are taken priority if no other critical risks are present. And next is medium. These are just casual, undermined security measures that people really don't think of, and are relatively easy to fix. Once again, should be taken priority if all your high and critical vulnerabilities are no longer there. They're usually fixed. The mediums and lows are usually fixed with patches or security updates for applications. Low. These are definitely last but not least on the spectrum, and should be fixed as soon as possible, but definitely not a priority here. These can involve minor complications, and normally don't affect how the servers act if acted upon by an attacker. Info with Nessus, it just shows all the information associated with that vulnerability, or if it's correctly configured with security measures, it should just say that it's set up correctly with the correct ports, and says what the service is about. These are the Nessus results from my scan on David Hall's Linux or Ubuntu and Windows servers. What I found to be functioning was the firewall was configured with correct associated ports. No issues found on that end. Same thing with OpenSSH, it seemed to be installed and configured correctly. SMTP as well is functional, and the database I found it to be installed. But if you look below, I stated that the credentials I was given by David were unable to give me more information on the Postgres database. HTTP was found to be working on the correct port, and the issues Nessus showed only one vulnerability located on the Windows Server 2012, associated with IP forwarding, which attackers are used to exploit by spoofing their packets with a source IP address, matching a local host within the network to bypass the firewall to be able to DDoS or DOS a computer or associated computers in that network. IP forwarding is usually disabled if no routers are present on the network, and in this case it should be disabled because I believe we're not using any routers, so that is a fix associated with that vulnerability. Like I stated before, the Ubuntu database, I was unable to log in, and he either, I guess, gave me the wrong information or has forgotten what it is himself. HTTPS, Nessus failed to produce any info on this protocol for either servers, but I did see HTTP working. I could not find anything on AppArmor either. The ports are all open for these services, but no more information other than that. AppArmor was completely missing from Nessus scan. And I only found for the Dovecot email service, I was only able to find the IMAP and POP3 secure ports open as well instead of the actual Dovecot service. There was nothing on that. I looked through it all, no mention of Dovecot or IMAP or POP3, just the ports associated with those services. And I included a link in the top right corner as well as my paper for a complete showing of the Nessus scan results. But I copy and pasted or cut out a piece of the report to show what it looks like. And this is the information regarding his Windows server. It includes the one vulnerability I found with the IP forwarding being enabled, and it displays the solution, the description, the risk factor associated with this vulnerability. Yeah, and it also includes a entire results summary for this server, and there's a separate one for Linux as well. So with Windows, it came to a total of 27, 26 of them being informational and one being medium. So overall, it looks pretty good. And with Linux, I believe there are about 25 or 35. I'm sorry. And there were no medium, high, or critical on that server. So all in all, there was really only one vulnerability on both of his servers. And that will conclude my findings. Thanks.